Welcome back to yoga. We're in our second to last class of the semester. Hard to believe. So today we'll have a little bit of fun adventure. Approaching as usual at the level that works for you. I'll talk you through bus stops so that you can feel comfortable with whatever we get up to, but we'll have some fun challenges towards the end. But for now, just take this moment to slow your breath and to bring your awareness back to your body. And just notice where you're starting without judgment, without trying to fix it. Just letting yourself be a witness, listening to how you feel. Allowing your shoulders to drop down your back. Allowing your breath to lengthen. Allowing your spine to start getting weightless, floating up, radiating through the crown of your head, lengthening that spine, and yielding your thighs down to gravity. Taking your next 3 breath cycles in silence. Breathing in, letting your arms float up to the sides and meet above your head, and sigh down to your center line. Let your eyes open when you're ready, repeating that circling arm breath, centering. And yield your head down to the mat. Big breaths here, just letting yourself melt down. Letting your exhale soften your lower back. Letting the weight of your bones return to the earth. Letting yourself be present, heavy, real. On your next inhale, roll that spine back up. And exhaling over to your right side. First, find a nice, long, flat position, as though you were up against a wall with both shoulders on the same plane as your hips. And we're going to inhale and radiate. That means we're reaching actively in all directions. So I'm reaching out through my fingertips here with your left hand. Also through the crown of my head, I'm reaching. I'm radiating and supporting through this arm that's down in line with my pelvis. Big breath. Pan like you're a little kid trying to draw the most ginormous rainbow you can possibly make with your hands. And feel that Nice aligned flat torso. Radiate through the crown of the head, not where your tiara would sit in the front here, but where your crown sits. And let's breathe back and forth between the two sides. Inhale, the biggest arc you can reach. Coming up center, draw those shoulders down, spread your arms big and wide like you're gonna catch a big fluffy cloud here on your chest, and lean the crown of your head up and back, grounded through those legs, grounded through the sacrum and the sits bones underneath you. Let your fingertips come down just behind your hips, and open up the rib cage of the chest, spreading your ribs as though you could open them from each other. Tuck that chin into your chest and then support your neck by letting your shoulders rise up a little bit to catch the neck, and then you can relax the head onto those lifted shoulders. And let yourself sway just a little bit, and the weight of your neck can massage your shoulder muscles and vice versa. Your shoulder blades can massage your neck. Find that breath, friends. Nod your head yes, tucking your chin in. Tuck your chin in, rise up. Exhale. Switching your legs. Big breath into the front. This time we're going to keep those radiated arms, but we're going to think about centering into the center of your belly. So we're pulling our belly locks in. That means we're engaging transversus abdominis muscles. We're centering our shoulder blades down our back so that we're anchoring that weight down into the ground. Even as we reach out on the diagonal, and press your knees wide down into the mat. So you're really rooting and supporting yourself into the floor. And feel how that support of reaching your roots down through your legs is the counterbalance to the radiating reach through your arms. Your back should be engaged and alive. Your core should be almost undulating with your breath as it softly holds on to that belly lock and root lock. So your pelvic floor is your root lock. That's engaged as well. Big breath in. Keeping your shoulders back, we're going to sigh down like a leaf floating in slow motion. Maybe even a feather floating down to the ground. And when you get to the ground, let yourself sway side to side. Go ahead and rest in the center. Big inhale, big exhale. I want you to gather up that pelvic floor root lock. Your belly lock engages in, and we're going to reach out through that grounded body. Aloha Mora, float up. Exhale, twisting to your left. Let your arms drop down to the floor and keep those open chests as you spiral, looking to the back of your room. And inhale, floating up. Exhale, around to the other side. Inhaling center, exhaling back to your left. Let your hands help to twist you around for a second. Open that chest by drawing your shoulders down the back. Gather your belly lock in and lift your hands up, holding onto that tight core. Notice if your hip flexors are gripping, and soften them perhaps by giving your legs a little jiggle. Inhaling center, arms float up. And we're going to exhale all the way around. Arms come all the way down to the mat. Exhale, use your hands at first to press yourself around. Notice whether you're shrinking up a shoulder to try and hold yourself in place. And instead, anchor those tips of your shoulder blades into the spine. Gather in those belly locks. Let your arms float up to the sides and then soften your thighs so that your torso is doing the work of holding the twisting, less the legs. Inhale, front. Lovely. Let your elbows drape down behind yourself. Fingertips on the floor just behind your hips. And go ahead and stretch through the back first. And let's walk our hands further back than we did last time. And just circle that whole spine around softly with your breath. So you're lifting up and spreading, stretching your hands, stretching your shoulders, and exhaling, curving. You're passing through to that cat position of the spine where your spine feels like it's a hammock. Your hip flexors might be opening here as you go there. And reverse the direction of that circle of the back. And then walk your hands back close to your pelvis. Anchor those shoulders down. Open those knees and gently float up the hips. Floating the hips back down. Rise up. Take those knees together and curve down to your back. Take your right knee in, circling the foot, and lift the left leg, circling that foot as well. We're just going to go for a little walk in the sky here. Switch your legs. Sway through the ankles, letting your right leg drift down and back up. Both legs in the air. Walk on the sky. Exhale, bring both knees to your chest and hollow out that torso again. Go ahead and walk your hips side to side. Just rock them. Let it feel good. And then press those heels up. Exhale, thighs to your chest. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders. And hands behind the knees. Press those legs up. Balance on your lower back. Exhale, draw it in. Shoulders stay up. And exhale, press. Come up to your Navasana. Boat pose. Lifted. Float the arms. Radiating through those legs. So you can still stay holding on if you want to or not, but don't be droopy with those legs. I want you to activate the legs. Even if they're not all the way straight, reach through them. Radiate through the feet. Option to lift your arms up. Exhale, pull those knees down to the floor. Reach over the knees and rest your chest against the thighs. Big breath. Exhale, roll down. Slide your legs out as you roll down and open your arms up above your head like you just woke up in the morning. You're just stretching. Yum, yum, yum. Exhale. Arms slide back down like a snow angel and bend your knees to rise up. Big breath. Open those arms behind you. Exhale down. Let your heels stay forward. Let the arms circle past your feet, up and over. Bend your knees, roll down. Arms down by the sides and then they open. You just woke up. Stretch the arms above the head. Exhale, snow angel. Curve up, bent knees, and arms go back to come up. Exhale over the forward fold. 2 breaths here. One more big breath cycle. Inhale, rolling up. Find your breath. Bend your knees. Pull them all the way back close to your chest. Be as tall as you can through that back. So don't let your lower back slouch here. You want to sit up nice and tall. Pull the knees into that and then twist to your right. And my left hand, your left hand is going around that knee. And I'm going to sit up as tall as I can out of the pelvis and lower back. Try and get the stretch all the way down there. Big breath. Looking behind yourself, anchoring that right shoulder down. And let's inhale up center and exhale to the other side. Anchor down with the shoulder blade. Looking behind yourself. And inhale back up center, twisting back to your right. Left hand holding the right knee, slide your left leg long. Sitting up tall, let your right hand float. Notice your belly right now. Can we re-engage that belly lock and pelvic floor? And with that gathering up of your inside, can you grow taller? Go ahead and place your hand on the mat, your right hand if it's not there already, directly behind the right hip, and stretch your arm away from it. So my chest is facing the right, my right knee is facing up, my left leg is facing up and straight down. And from here, you have the option to lift your pelvis. And then notice how you want to go side plank, yeah? But I want you to try to come up with your hips square to the front. Oh, it's tricky, guys. It's tricky. Bring it back down. Come back up, square, arms to the front, switch your legs. Draw to the twist to the left. Big deep breaths. Let that hand come down. Left hand on the floor, right hand radiates away from it. So you're supporting through that left arm. And then check on your hips and knees. We want both of them to be square as much as possible. And we're going to press up the hips. Think about pressing with the bent leg, and that's what will help you stay square. Gently lower back down. Find your upright twisted position. Both hands together towards your feet. Both feet in. Both hands to the back underneath yourself. Place your feet nice and close together. They can be all the way or just a couple inches apart, but one toe should be able to touch the other as you do this. And we're going to keep those thighs parallel and come up to the tabletop. Pinch your shoulders back a bench so that their shoulder blades are centered and in. Draw your belly lock in and squeeze your buns to lift your pelvis. Now, how's that head doing? Is it watching the screen? Can we lengthen the skull away from the knees? Exhale, pelvis down. Knees wide for bound angle. Flip forward and tuck your hands underneath so that the knuckles touch the earth, and press your wrists past the knuckles so that you feel the stretch in the top of the back of the wrist, yes? So opposite of the palm side of the wrist. 3 big breaths here. All right, drawing back up. Swing your hands back behind your hips and press up to tabletop. Gather in that waist. Pull those shoulders back and lift your left leg. And switch. Keep those hips high. Notice if you're locking your arms, try and soften the elbows. Use more buns. Let it down. Lift it up. Stretch those wrists over.
We're going to start our sun salutations next.
So either come to your seated position by walking there, or if you'd like, roll and hop up to your feet at the front of your mat. And find Tadasana, your mountain pose, front and center. Big breath in. Inhaling up. Exhale, open that chest. Reaching through your solar plexus, your heart chakra. Inhale forward, reach on out. Exhale down to your forward fold.
In your forward fold today, just breathe. Notice where there are parts of your back that just hang on tight for no good reason anymore, and can you exhale and let them soften a little more. Let the weight of your skull lengthen. In fact, go ahead and take your hands to the back of your head. Wrap your hands around your skull. Soften your knees and rest on your thighs, and then exhale and let the weight of your arms pull your skull down to the earth. Let those hands meet the floor. And take a moment with your legs. They do not need to be all the way straight. That's not the most important thing here. Instead, I want you to take a moment and feel support. It's a cushy strength reaching into the earth. So resting your heels and all your toes into the earth. Have a little bounce with your knees for the moment. Releasing your upper back completely. Awakening your thighs and hamstrings. Big breath in. Exhale, bend those knees. Inhale, flat back. Press the floor away, making support. Let your arms come around the sides up to the front. Exhale, dip the hips back. Rising up. Lifting up your left leg. Send it back to high lunge. Taking those hands down to your pelvis. Go ahead and bend the back knee to get a vertical pelvis for me. Shift your front leg forward. Re-engage that belly lock. Squaring the left hip forward. And re-radiating throughout the legs. Let's lift the arms up and be still this time. Witness your high lunge. Focusing on opening the left hip rather than straightening the leg and sacrificing your lower back. Yield a little bit more into that back heel. Reach a little bit more forward with your front knee. And slowly, we're going to reach forward for Chaturanga Vinyasa, which begins with your plank. Your knees can be down anytime we do a plank, that's fine. Center those shoulders back though. From your plank or modified plank, you're going to lower your chest and heart to the floor. Shoulders back. After you get to the floor, inhale, lift up your belly and come to either a baby cobra, a full cobra, or an upward facing dog, your choice. For me, lower back down in your Chaturanga Vinyasa to the floor again. And inhale, press back up through your modified plank or your full plank to roll over those toes and arrive in your downward dog. That's the flow vinyasa that passes through Chaturanga, which is the plank pose with bent arms. Big deep breaths in your downward dog. Let it be luxurious and fulfilling. And left leg's gonna come up. Reaching that leg into the air, using the left glutes. Rotate those elbows in. Keep it square. 2 more breaths. Big breath in. Let's pendulum that leg. Exhale, its size, the thighs pass. Inhale, tuck it up to your nose. Exhale, thighs pass. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, thighs pass. Inhale, knee to nose, shift forward. Exhale, thighs pass. Inhale, lift the leg, step through this time. Exhale, thighs pass. Inhale, place your foot and square in your opposite high lunge. Soften the back knee, prioritize pelvis. All right, think about that support. Your legs should feel like giant spring loads underneath you. Yield your back heel back. Let that back ankle release. But don't unwind the hip here. We still want to be squared to the front. Let your arms rise up. Gather in that pelvic floor and belly lock and press into the earth to lean out with a flat back. Big breath. Your back toe is your springboard. Use it to push yourself to forward fold. Find that breath. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, pelvis comes down behind you. Inhale, rise up standing. Exhale, arms come down. Inhale, arms up. Find your arch. And back around. Inhale, arch. Exhale, back, whole set, right side. Right foot goes back. Find your high lunge. Take a moment, center. Squeeze those thighs towards the center line to center. And then rise on up. For our centering movement principle, your thighs are trying to squeeze towards this center line as though it's a big plane of glass, yeah? So squeeze them together. Notice how that action of squeezing your thighs together helps you to square off those pelvises. And reach on forward. Hands touch the ground. We're going to pass through our chaturanga vinyasa again. Here we go. Hands are under your shoulders. You're in your plank first or your modified plank. Pass through to chaturanga where your elbows are at your sides. All the way to the floor. Inhale. Cobra or upper facing dog, your choice. Exhale, back down to the floor. And back to your downward dog. Big breaths here. Let it be a rest. And right leg rises. Hold. That right leg can also be participating in the centering, so you want to bring the inner thigh to that center line again. And inhale, lengthens you. Exhale, thighs pass. Inhale, tuck it forward. Exhale, thighs pass. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, centering, tucking, shifting forward. Here's your last one. This one's going to step through. Breathing. Yielding your spine straight down to gravity. Radiating. Back heel and front knee, and now the top of your head forward. Centering, keeping your hips square and aligned by squeezing that center line. Front knee is right over your front ankle, not past it. Back foot is your springboard to step together and forward fold. Rest, let it go. Go ahead and grab the opposite elbow and just let the weight of your arms stretch out your back. Knees can be bent. Release those hands. Inhale up to flat back. Arms come around and drop the pelvis. Rise up. Returning to your mountain pose, hands to namaste. Let your eyes close for a moment. Find your breath. We're gonna go inhale up, exhale down. This set's gonna be with warrior one. Inhale up, exhale open. We're gonna flow. Inhale up. And keeping your breath cascading in and out, just like the waves. Up, flat back, exhale, down, step back, left. Warrior one, so the whole foot, the whole thigh is at a 45-degree angle from your pelvis. Rise up. Exhale, open the heart. Inhale, gather up some cool water. Sprinkle it over your face as you exhale. Keep that front knee aligned with your toes and your back knee aligned with your open toes. Exhale all the way through Chaturanga Vinyasa. One breath. Switch your foot, step back, Chaturanga, floor. Inhale, rise. Exhale, take it down. Inhale, downward dog. Resting in your downward dog. If you need to rest in child's pose instead of downward dog, that's okay. Do what works for you. One more breath cycle here. Join us in downward dog if you're on the floor. We're gonna inhale, lift that left leg up and bend it immediately. And then I want you to take the heel and press the ceiling higher. So we'll go press and down, and press and down, and press and down, and press and down. Take that knee in to your chest and across the body. Extend your left foot out on the right side. We're gonna lower our pelvis down to the mat so that we're twisting through the spine and twisting through that left leg. Twist, twist, twist. This is my right hip. I'm trying to wrap it into that thigh. So I feel this left leg's outer hip getting a great stretch here. Big breath in with that right arm. Exhale, spin it down underneath. Try to put your right elbow or shoulder on the mat. Big twist. Inhale, rise on up. Both hands down, shoulder width apart. Gather up your pelvic floor and your belly lock and tuck that knee back up into the three-legged dog position. Touch the ceiling. Exhale, step it through to high lunge. And then before you rise, change your right leg to 45-degree angle to rise up in warrior one. Keep rotating that right thigh open even as you're bringing your right hip forward and square. Two motions at once. Open those hands behind to reverse namaste. Keep playing with the closing of the hip and the opening of your back thigh. Yielding to gravity with that pelvis. And exhale, drop your skull down towards your left big toe. Lay on the thigh. Keep those hips aligned. Rise back up through the chest. We're going to change to high lunge, so change your back leg. Think about tucking your tailbone in as you press off of the right foot to balance on your left leg. So you're bringing your tailbone over your right toe, or tailbone over your left toes. Think about that motion. Whoosh. Good. Open up your right thigh and place it in a low tree. Witness your balance. Witness your standing foot. Lifting up the right leg. Press it out and unfurl your arms. Everything slightly in front of the body. Bring it down. Exhale, melt into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, melt it down. Slowly stack back up to standing. We'll repeat it all on the left. Big breath in. Exhale. Inhale on up. Exhale, open arms. And around. Inhale, arc. Exhale, down. Right leg steps back. To warrior one. So your thighs out on 45, but your pelvis is still square to the front. Rising up. Open those wings. Scoop up the water. Keeping that breath continuous all the way down to the mat. Chaturanga Vinyasa, stepping back, lower down through your plank, through your chaturanga. Inhale. Resting your downward dog. Right leg rises. Bend the knee immediately. Bring the thighs together. And press the sky away with your heel. We press. And together. And press. And together. And press. And together. One more time. We press. Step through. Actually, don't step through. Bring that right thigh across the body and lower down onto the right hip. Big stretch right outside of the leg. Inhale, walk it up. Exhale, taking your right elbow to the floor, your left elbow to the floor, or even that shoulder. Twisting. Letting your left hip come into your right thigh. Unwind. Bringing it back up. And now stepping it through. Find warrior one. Open those arms to reverse namaste. Check in on your tailbone. Is it open? Is it back? And sneak those pinky fingers up and together. Then yields. Engaging your abdominal wall to keep your tailbone pointed to the center of the earth. Your left knee is revolving out while your left hip bone revolves forward. Feel, witness all the contrasting directions your body's moving in. Big breath in. Lengthen through that spine, then drop your skull towards the earth. You can rest on your thigh as long as you're still supporting and engaging throughout those legs. Find your breath. Can you let go of the head while you're holding everything else into energy? Inhale, lift the chest. Square those hips first. Witness where your tailbone is. Feel it from the inside. You're going to draw that tailbone forward. So lift into high lunge with your left foot. Practice pressing through that foot a couple times. That's your springboard. Then imagine your tailbone traveling over the ball of your right foot. Tailbone's going to go up here. Imagine it and then move. Good. Low tree. Find your stillness. In your low tree with your left foot, you're going to extend that leg to the side and your arms, reaching out for your spider. Radiate all through your standing leg and your skull and your hands and your toe. Bring it on down. Big breath in. Good job, friends. Down to your squat. We're going to rise up. Everything is on that center line, yeah? Squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in. Lifting up your right leg. We're going to cross the leg as high as you can up the thigh. So try and cross the very tops of the thighs. Left knee is going to reach forward as you sit. We're going towards our eagle pose. Make sure that left knee is pointing straight forward. We don't want to be sagging it as we're putting weight on it. So squeeze both legs to your center line to do that. Top leg is bottom arm. So therefore your right leg's on top, your right arm's underneath. You're going to cross above the elbows and intertwine and then squeeze everything, pulling your belly lock back, lifting those elbows. The eagle pose. Unfurl halfway. Let your arms release and find your shin. Check your foot, your standing foot. Let it be a puddle on the floor. Standing up, holding your right leg parallel to the ground. Press the floor away. Radiate through the top of the skull. Good, good. Now you're outside of this ankle. Goes on the knee and slide your hands towards the floor from here. So now your standing leg is slightly bent. I'm going to turn slightly to the side for you. Standing leg is slightly bent so that you have a shelf for this leg. You're going to put your standing leg's armpit around that ankle. And you're going to take this foot that's up here in the air and you're going to hug your shoulder with it. Find your balance. Other leg, also onto the shin if you can. Release everything. Rise up. Switch sides. Big breath in the middle, friends. Unfurl. Whoosh. Now we're going to do eagle on your standing right leg. Left leg rises. Cross as far up as you can. Squeeze it together. Square those hips. Top leg is bottom arm. Crossing above the elbows, then bend the elbows to wrap. Then lift the elbows. Squeeze to the center line. Standing leg knee reaches straight forward. Seeking an upright position where your shoulders are over your hips. We tend to lean forward in our eagles. Yeah, because we get into them and lean our shoulders over our knees, but I want you to engage that torso, get your shoulders back over your hips. Release, gather up your shin. Soften that foot. Your balance happens in your standing hip, it's not happening in your ankle, so let it be soft. Exhale. Shin on thigh, reach down. Drop your head. Bend that knee. Breathe. And wrap that foot around the elbow, find your balance. I'm sorry, around the upper arm and shoulder. You're trying to put your armpits onto that shin. Press back and roll up to unfurl. Step your feet wide, soften down, and meet the floor. Hang it out. Sway those hips from side to side. Creep your feet outside to side. Let your feet go as wide as you need to. If you need to turn sideways, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn diagonally. So go ahead and experiment with walking your feet too far out where you have trouble holding yourself up at all. But just explore what that might feel like and where your body might come to the mat there. That corner of my mat's slippery. Big breath in, walk up onto your hands. Walk your hands forward and drop your knees down. Let your feet come in and press your hips open gently. Exhale, take your feet together and press back into your child's pose with wide knees and rest here. Walk your hands in. Sitting in a super wide kneeling position. Let those thighs roll out. Taking your hands behind yourself, draw your belly button back, open up. Pressing the hips softly skyward. Exhale, bring them down. Bring your thighs together now. Roll back and open up those thighs again. Exhale, long spine as you come up and over. And now we're going to tuck your toes in, still with legs quite close together. Sitting back onto the balls of your feet, on your heels. Squeeze those thighs together as you're centering. Taking your hands to the lower back, to the pelvis. So your heel of your palm is going to hit the pelvis, the top of the pelvis. And your fingertips will extend onto your gluteus maximus, your buttons. Yes? And we're going to stick that tailbone out for a moment and squeeze your shoulder blades and elbows to the back of the room. Then we're going to curve, tuck the tailbone underneath, draw the belly lock in and the pelvic floor, rise up, and keeping those elbows back and your fingertips pressing your tailbone down and under, let your hips stay above the knees as you rise up through the heart. Shoulders engaged and centered. Opening up the chest. There's going to be a big desire to let your booty go back and just bend in the middle of your spine here. That's not your goal. Your goal is to tuck your tailbone underneath in the camel so that your belly's lifting up in the front and your pelvis is pressed under. You can put those hands a little lower if that helps you, but definitely lift up the front of the abdomen. That's where the strength to grow is. From your camel, if you feel comfortable, you can reach one hand down to a heel. Try switching hands. Maybe both, but press those hips back forward. Rise up. Down to your child's pose. Everyone rest. Now your tailbone is arcing towards those heels. Really let the hips be heavy. If your butt in the child's pose is just hanging out here for fun, use this opportunity to press with your hands so that you're really opening up the low back here. Low back. Let your hips shift side to side gently. Draw those thighs together and walk your hands around to the right. Put your elbows on the floor if you can. Sneak your elbows against your thigh if you can. Think about having Sphinx arms. Walking back center. Rest in the center for a moment. And walk your hands over to the left side. Keeping those thighs together, pelvic floor, torso, and elbows to the ground on the left. So big stretch across this lower part of your back here. And then walk your elbows into the thigh. Rise up. Come center. Come down onto your pelvis and walk your feet wide. Bring your chest through the center and open those knees back. This is like it's really a happy baby pose, except you're sitting on your butt instead of laying on your back. So let your thighs open to the sides and find your way to those heels. And then I'm gonna pull with my hands, keeping my knees wide, trying to pull my belly button over my pelvis. So we don't wanna be curved back here, in which case you would be feeling your upper back. Bend your knees as much as you need to get your booty and tailbone behind you for this stretch. If you're not feeling your inner thighs and you have more challenge to get to today, you can straighten those legs. But for most of us, they're going to be at least a little bit bent. Keep the stretch in your inner thighs. However it looks on your body, it's the feeling of your inner thighs stretching that is the goal, not the look of the shape. Skip sides. Come on up. Bring those knees in. Bring your chest all the way around to the right. Bend over and put your elbows on that thigh. Bring the legs together. Rock back. Find your Navasana with your elbows on the outside of that thigh. Find your breath. Release. Big breath. Exhale down. Roll up. Wide legs. Breath in, lengthen through your spine. Twist to your left. Find your way to that side. Bring those legs together. Elbows to the side. Tip back. Navasana legs. Bring it down. Come to face your right side of your mat if this is the head of your mat. Both knees together in a squat with your feet quite close. Walk your shoulders around to the front, and we're going to take our knees and rock them forward. And close, rock forward. And close. Keep your thighs together. Rock forward. Close. Rock forward. Walk around the front of those thighs and lean your thigh onto those close shoulder width maximum hands. So your elbows are on the outside of the thigh. The two places are hip and just above the knee here on the outside of that thigh is where I'm placing my two elbows. Yeah, there you go. Bust stop B, that's it. Bust stop A might be that we're not quite connecting yet. Yeah? If bust stop B is no problem, put your head on the floor past your hands. Bust stop C, lift those feet. D's, lift your head. Coming back. Flip your wrists over before we do the other side. Remember, it's playtime. Find your breath. Rolling up. Knees to your left. And before you put yourself on the floor, squeeze those legs together and find that rock. Because it's that rock that lets me get my spine and shoulders a little bit further twisted. So I push my knees back, spiral along spine, and then I can wrap my elbow into my hips. Make sure those elbows are bent at 90-degree angle. And I'm making that same downward dog hand position on the floor that we always do, which is pointer fingers forward in this case. Yes. And then I lean my legs onto my forearms. I'm going to turn a little more sideways. I think this is going to be helpful. Yeah. Legs on forearms. Lean the weight onto it. Head to the floor. Notice your elbows need to be over your palms. Falling out of it means you're giving it a great try. Go ahead and flip those wrists over. All right, last set. So if you happen to look up, you might notice I'm trying to do a variation E on top of that little hover. This is the side crow, by the way, that we're doing, or the side crane. That variation is based on the stretch we did earlier, where your bottom leg is forward and your back leg is back. Yeah? So if you'd like to try that, the trick is to keep your head down as you extend your legs while you're learning it. Yeah? But it's totally optional. Okay. So bust up A, B, C, or D, or E. Your choice. Have fun, play, fall over gently. The floor is very close to you right now, see? You're fine. Everybody just, fall fall over. Try it, I dare you. And then laugh. Laughing is so much more fun than not laughing. Ready? 3, 2, 1. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Good job, monkeys. All right, now that we've gotten over our fear of falling for the moment, let's do one more time each side. So we'll do your right next. Keep rotating. I'm trying to just demonstrate in every direction I can think of. Legs center together. Rock the knees forward. Twist through a long lower back to wrap the opposite elbow. And then bus-stop A is just getting that contact between the elbows and the thigh. Bus-stop B, you lean onto your hands. Make sure your hands are in this position, that is shoulder width apart, pointer fingers are parallel. Yes, elbows are squeezing in. Head on the floor is the next bus stop. That tip of leaning yourself out past your hands is what gets your legs to float off the ground. If you're going to F, stretch and fall. Yay! Come on back. Take a break first, especially with those little wristies. Roll them out. You can press your wrists together. Drop your elbows for a stretch across the back of the wrist. We'll do wrist stretches as we close, okay? Here we go, last side. You know your way through. Experiment, laugh. Let your head touch the floor. I did not have my elbow right above my wrist that time, so the elbow went out, and that's how I lost my balance. So I'm just going to reset. Also, the more you do it, you get a little more fatigued, and that's okay and normal too. It's always a process. All right, there we go. Side crane. Boop, boop. Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee-hee. All right, friends, you made it. Let's come down to relax. We're going to, you can go ahead and lay in Shavasana if you can see, but I want you to take your hands up like you're like, I'm 10 years old. And then you're going to bring your thumbs together, put your thumbs forward. So now I'm like trying to be a stegosaurus or something up here with my palms facing out. And I'm going to drop my palms down. And see how your pinkies are up and your thumbs are down? Just help that happen even more. So my opposite hand is now going to grab one arm. And I'm trying to rotate my pinky into my face. Drop that elbow down for a big stretch. You can do that working your way into your comfy Shavasana. And switch your hands. So I'm bending and rotating the wrist. Bending and rotating. And then the opposite direction. Trying to take my pinky and put it on the top outside elbow. So I'm bending my palm towards my inside of my elbow, and then I'm rotating it. And twist the other side. Take a last couple of breaths to ease into your Shavasana. And release those wrists. Bring yourself back to that state of witnessing. Bringing your focus back to your breath. Inhaling through the nose. Feeling your body irradiate soft, passive lengthening. Exhale, yielding down into the ground. Letting go of the job of alignment. Releasing any urge to support yourself. And just breathe. Engage every cell in your body in the gentle, restorative breath. Gently let yourself come back into your body, taking your time. Perhaps reaching through each toe, wiggling your fingers, lengthening one leg and the other, and drawing one leg up and letting that leg press you to your side. And coming up. It's always an honor to get to practice with you. Thanks for letting me do so. Namaste.